We're back.
We're back.
All right. In this second part, we're going to chat a little bit about we just spoke about how not to water.
Yep.
Our neighbours.
Kind of basically just covered one.
Just a couple of little
just
bits.
A couple of ones,
but how about we talk a little bit about how to water our own garden to get it green?
Awesome.
What's some good ways to water some gardens, babe?
I mean, again, great topic because we don't want to just be covering the negative aspect. We want to be covering the positive aspect. So the way I can be watering in this garden, again, it's basically doing the opposite of the negative.
Yeah.
So you end up with a positive. But again, I want to spend time with my wife. And a lot of the time when it comes to that, it's going to mean dealing with issues, which again, that's the whole point of building a relationship. But I think one of the most important factors is learning to have fun with each other. Okay, men, we have work, we go to work. Well, for a lot of us, it's going out of home, we work hard, come back home. And then there might be children's issues to deal with, and then there's bills to pay, and it's just work, and hey, babe, and then, but just busy weeks, and then busy months, and then it's like shucks, and but just taking the time to just stop and have fun, I think super important, and especially when things are a little tough.
So true.
Because it's like again, we've got to understand the demonic that's against marriage, and I don't want to ham it up too much, but we've still got to be aware of it because again, Satan can be playing games in your marriage, just between yous, and you don't realize it, and then you're pointing a finger at each other, and again, it's like, hang on a minute, it's like, dude, I'm getting offended over nothing.
Yeah.
I'm stirring up my spouse now and getting them in the flesh. What the freak? And it's just like, dude, bring God in, sort things out.
Yes.
But again, a lot of the times, like, you know what? I really feel the devil. Let's just grab a pizza. Let's just grab some, just a bag of chippies, and let's grab a movie, and let's have fun. Let's have a laugh. Like, again, they don't have to be things that cost a lot of money. But yeah, just going for a walk together. But definitely like having fun, just doing things where you both crack up and, making each other laugh, I think is really, really important. The joy of the Lord is our strength. And, so the joy of the Lord can be the strength of the marriage too.
Yeah.
Well, certainly a huge aspect of it. So Jack and I, that's something that we do.
Definitely.
Something that I can pour into her. So dates, like, I want it to be fun for her. She wants to be fun for me. But, it's just learning to be funny, like, cracking each other up and having a good time, just time away where you can switch off, just everything switched off. You don't have to think about the kids. And that's where it's like, don't think having date days at home because, the baby cries, mum's got to get up, go do, tend to the baby and all that kind of stuff. So there are distractions, but we like it where it's just we can switch things off. We can turn the ministry off. We can turn our children off. Like, no, we just turn everything off and we can be open for emergencies and so on. But again, it's just time where I can be devoted to Jack. She can be devoted to me in that sense. And it's just that time together. Very, very important and something that I can do. But that's where I'm watering. So I can be asking her. We can have some D&Ms. Excuse me. Where I can, pose some questions and I'm allowing her to pose some questions to me but we're connecting, and I think that's really important. Just so there's a few things there, but those are definitely areas where I can, and those are the kind of the more deeper ones, I guess. Ones that can be neglected to a degree, or kind of slip down the stream a bit, because then there's obviously the other ones about giving her praise, honoring her, respecting her, being grateful and thankful, telling her how beautiful she is, knowing that the enemy wants to attack in that area. So reaffirming, confirming, but reaffirming just how amazing she is. And that's how I'm watering here. So again, my attention is here. It's not anywhere else. I'm not like, yeah, you're beautiful. Oh, but so are they. It's like that doesn't work. Trust me, been there. But as I've poured my attention here and watered here, again, it's just I'm then reaping the benefits. And but I again, it's like I'm not being distracted by anything else. I'm just pouring my attention here. I'm having fun with this woman. I'm having, pouring my heart out to this woman. I'm sharing things with this woman, and it's what makes it incredible. So yeah.
And I think you get passionate about what you invest in.
Yes.
So for instance, say you decide to start a veggie patch. Previously you were not interested in that at all, but when you start investing, you go out and you buy seeds and you buy fertilizer and you buy some good quality soil, and you start, like, you've invested in it now you actually start getting really passionate about it, and you're like checking in on those veggies and you really enjoy them. You're telling the whole world about your little veggie patch that's growing and taking photos and posting it on YouTube, and you're like, what the heck happened to me?
Yeah.
Like, I never used to be into this stuff. And likewise with your marriage, you can think, I'm not really good relationally and I'm not really that into it and stuff. I just encourage you, start investing more and more, because so many people, they're spending money on pornography, or they're spending money on, all different ways of sowing into, say, other relationships in different ways, getting to know other people. Like, you can even be investing in going to Hapkido, for instance, and spending more time and more money there than I am in giving attention and honor to my own husband. And so I think when you begin to invest in it, so when you begin to sow time, money, attention, praise, all these different things, you start to get passionate about what you're seeing, the growth that you're seeing here.
Absolutely.
And you start going, oh my gosh, look at what we're developing here. Oh my gosh, This is so exciting. This is so good.
Yep.
And were you going to say something?
No. I'm just like in total agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Totally. So that's one thing I would say. I would definitely encourage you, start investing in it. Instead of wasting time out there, start investing more and more, and you will find yourself starting to get more and more passionate about your relationship. So God has given you somebody, all that passion that you have, whether it is sexual passion or whether it is just the desire to have fun and be understood. When we were growing up, we'd all watch movies and we'd all see the couples and we're like, oh, that'll be me one day. You have your own spouse and be able to have your own fun for the rest of your life. All the stuff that comes with marriage, you get to do it with that person. Why waste it looking out, fantasizing about with somebody else?
Yep,
why don't you actually just put all that energy into the one you do have, and making that so awesome? And you can, and God will be with you in that.
Yeah.
And before you know it, what you have, the garden you have, will be flourishing and so envied, because you've been putting all your fertilizer and good soil and water and sunshine and time and attention over here. It can't help but flourish.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's what I would say on that. I also throw out there, in regards to the fun side of things, I just think, coming from somebody who's a negative blood type and can tend to be very serious and over-examining, and in my natural kind of self, something that I've really learned and continue to learn is that peace with my husband, joy with my husband, just love and fun here. Like, laughing with Ryan is so much more edifying and important to me than nutting out every little thing that might be, slightly what I don't like or what we don't want. Or now, I don't mean you can't bring up issues, especially if there's ongoing things that really bug one another, or could be quite offensive, or especially if they're unbiblical things. And even then, we'll talk about conflict resolution in one of these ones, where we talk about how to bring up issues with one another in a way that's going to be productive and not destructive. But yeah, you do definitely need to be able to bring up issues. But I think when you're like, literally every little thing can get you so upset. I was talking to Ryan today about how it's such a skill to get to the point where things that used to make you, get angry and have a fight or not talk to each other or blow into something massive. Now you're at the point where you can be cracking up about it. So something that could have made you fight for weeks maybe now makes you laugh for years. You're always talking about, I remember when that happened, and like, laugh about it. Don't, because it's Satan. Satan is the one trying to bring disunity in your relationship.
All this up,
So the best way to beat him is crack up together. Like, have a laugh about it. Don't let it be such a big deal. Like, we've got to be careful not to take everything so seriously, because it's not. Like, if say Ryan and I came over and heard about the thing that maybe you and your spouse might have been arguing about this week, we would probably crack up about it because it probably, if you told us the actual issue, it's probably that ridiculous that, you know, you're thinking about divorcing over it. You're thinking about having an affair because of it.
Yeah.
Like Satan makes it so dramatic.
Yeah.
And really most of the time it's just nothing. Like it is laughable. And to be honest, guys, the more mature you are in Christ, the more you'll be able to laugh at stuff.
That's right.
Because it's just not a big deal. You know its author is Satan. And you know nothing's more important than your peace with God and peace with your spouse.
Absolutely.
The Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers. And those who, you know, it says, seek peace with all men. Seek to be at peace with all men. Now, of course, not in an unbiblical sense, but in the biblical way, as far as I can, when an offense comes to me, you know, just doing that and having a laugh about it and go, man, that was funny. Like Satan was trying to set us up there. And like I said, I really like it that part of our spiritual warfare against the enemy is the tougher things are and the more we could be tempted to get tense and anxious or stressed or frustrated with one another. That's when we all the more make decisions to have fun together, to just give each other some reprieve.
Yeah, absolutely. So you might not be able to, okay, that's it. Let's just stop. Let's go out and let's just party. You might not be able to do that. But husbands, if you you know what, wifey, this Friday we're going to go out. Straight away, countenance will change, and it's like, I'm feeling the devil. He's trying to stir things up. Now again, there may be legitimate things that Satan is using. Those things need to be sorted. But you can always say, it's like, right, we're going to have a date. We're going to talk this stuff out and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this Friday, we're going. That's it. I'm pulling the pin. I'm organising babysitters right now. And you do that and you make the most of your date. Because I tell you what, sometimes, you know, you're going on a date, but they're not fun. You're going on a date's the right thing to do, but you're so...
talk about dates too in one of our sessions.
We need to talk about dates. We need to talk about dates. How to do good dates.
Conflict resolution, dates. That's 10 more topics coming up.
2 topics we're going to talk about. But yeah, what's the time? 43. Okay, we've got 7 minutes. All right. Because what I wanted to do is, in talking about, you know, watering the neighbour's lawn, so to speak, and watering our own lawn, what to avoid and what we can do to strengthen our marriages. Excuse me. But just to make sure that everyone gets something out of this. Because, okay, as we spoke earlier about people, you know, having lust issues, obviously that's a definite road to adultery. But again, the passive side of things, taking the time to give attention to your spouse, these sort of things, meeting your spouse's needs, as I was touching on a bit early, like I was jumping the gun a little bit. But that's what we use dates for to a degree. They're really good because there's no one around. It's just you and your spouse. You're able to talk things out. How are we doing? Like, where can we improve? What's some areas that you're struggling with right now? What are some things I do that really bug you and annoy you or frustrate you? You know, and don't hold back. Don't hold back. Just let your frustration out. You know, just, you know, it's just like, and then don't be offended at what's being said, because that's probably what's holding the spouse back from sharing things with you, because then you, oh, what? No, no, no. And then you're going to get all offended.
Conflict resolution.
Conflict resolution. Whoopsie, jumping the gun again.
How to bring up topics. Yeah.
How to bring up topics. But again, it's like being attentive to your spouse's needs. And I think that's so important, because you can think you're the perfect spouse, but then that's coming from your perspective. Have you asked your spouse? Have you checked in with them? How am I doing as a wife or a husband? Because that's how you are watering and flourishing in the area of your marriage and where you're avoiding adultery. I think it's really important, and we can all, every single one of us, can fit into that category. You know, yeah. So it's something that we all need to have a look and, like, you know what, areas that I can improve. Now, it may be hard for you to think of areas yourself. The best thing to do is ask the other person, because they can definitely tell you where, you know, areas where you could change, grow, where you frustrate them and rather than you trying to think of, you know what, I just can't think of anywhere you know, I'm a pretty good spouse. You know, and but again, you're checking with yourself. So you think you're loving them, but in fact, there could be a lot of areas where you're neglecting them, and you just don't realize it. And that's the whole point of this, is highlighting areas where it's like, oh shucks, okay, and I didn't even think about that, about asking my spouse or whatever the case may be. It just hadn't crossed your mind. You're just doing your best and loving them the best way that you can, and then, but you know, the love and attention you're giving them is like, yep, it's kind of like, it's a nice little tickle on the shoulder there, but it's not actually hitting the spot. And it's like, wow. So understanding one another, all that kind of stuff. So areas where you're passive, areas where you know, for men, like you're giving room for your spouse to despise you because you're not being attentive or disciplined with your responsibilities, and you're kind of leaving a lot of work to the spouse. And so again, that can leave room for them to despise you and, you know, cause issues. And we want to resolve these issues. We want to leave no room for the demon. And again, that's what this whole point is. This whole thing is about. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And I was just thinking, yeah, just on the fun side of things, when Ryan was just like, you know, sometimes you can just like say if things are getting a little tense in the week and you're like, right, that's it, this Friday we're going to go out or whatever. Also, sometimes if it's like really tense, like it's just such a bad day, or say you hear wifey really is struggling, but it's starting to come out between the two of you, I'm telling you, stuff like just really simple stuff that's not like super expensive, but saying something like, listen, darling, what I want you to do is tonight, I know the kids normally go to bed at 8 or whatever, I want them all in bed by 6:30. So what I want you to do is I want you to bath them, feed them, whatever, get them in that room 6:30 because I'm bringing home pizzas, you're picking a movie, and we are just going to eat and drink and have a nice night. Because every woman hearing that she doesn't have to cook tonight, she doesn't have to work tonight, she doesn't have to deal with babies tonight, like she can just relax and she just gets to pick a movie and say, hey, it could be a chick flick, it could be whatever. It's just, we're going to have a good night. And likewise, ladies, if you see your husband's getting real stressed and tense and things are just, and it's starting to even come out on the family or whatever, and just go, hey, darling, you just come home. When you get home, I'm going to have those kids in bed.
Come on.
I'm going to have your favorite meal on the table, and we're going to have some good time together.
Amen.
Just things like that. I mean, a couple of pizzas, just get the $5 pizza. It doesn't need to be super expensive, but instead of just always thinking you need to talk and talk and talk, sometimes when Ryan and I have got we do like talking, we talk a lot, but sometimes just having a bit of fun and just having a bit of reprieve, like doing something, like for instance, you might like to just say, ladies, you know, tonight when you come home, babe, tell me what your favorite game is. I'm going to have it all signed in, logged up on the PlayStation or the Xbox or whatever, and I'll have your yummy feed ready for you. You can just relax, put up your feet, and you'll be like, oh, thank God. You know, I've got so much stuff going on, and I can just relax and taking care of each other like that. So I think, as well as discussing things that maybe might bother you sometimes and how to work on those, can also be, what's some really quick, just things that I can do for you that no matter what, hands down, they always bless you.
Yeah.
They're kind of quick flesh blesses, but I don't mean in a bad way. They're kind of just ways that give you some reprieve. So for a woman, it could be like, say, giving her just $20 to jump on the Shein website and spend, here's $20, jump on the website, buy something. Or jump on the warehouse online, whatever. And likewise, you know, or some food, or find the things that are just quick blesses that you could always pull out at the drop of a hat to just ease and refresh and bring just some love and refreshment into maybe a tense day or whatever.
That sounds awesome.
So we are going to do another pause, and we'll be back to answer some questions.
Awesome.